Hey guys, today I will show you how you can use the unofficial ChatGPT API to create a very simple chatbot using JavaScript. For this project, I am going to use Deno runtime. You can use node.js or Bun. Let's initialize a Deno project. I'm using VS Code. I will press Ctrl Shift E, and because I have the Deno extension installed on my VS Code, it gives me the option to initialize the workspace. I will press enter. Now I will select linting. Yes, I don't want to have the unstable APIs. I will select no. Once the workspace has been initialized, we will create a new file, mod.js. In this file, we are going to write our code. Now, in order to access the unofficial ChatGPT API, I will need an access token. I will be able to get that access token from the OpenAI ChatGPT website. You need to be logged in to the ChatGPT website in order to get the access token. Let me show you how you can get it. Here I will type the URL cat.openai.com/API/auth/session. When I press enter, it will give me a JSON data. I just need to copy the access token from this data, and I will paste that access token inside of my .env file. I will create a .env file and paste my access token here. Once I pasted the access token, we will start the development. Now I want to load my environment variables into my project. I will import the load method that is exported from denoland.env library. I will create a constant env equals to load. We will await for this method. It will load all our environment variables into the project. Now we will create another constant called access token. Once that's done, we will add a check here. We want to make sure that the program doesn't work if there is no access token. Now we want to load the ChatGPT unofficial API class from the ChatGPT repository that is published on NPM. We will use the NPM specifier here, and we will load ChatGPT. We want to import ChatGPT unofficial proxy API. This is a class. We will initialize this class. Passing our access token here. Once we have initialized the API class, we will be able to talk to the ChatGPT API. For some reason, this class does not communicate with the ChatGPT API directly. In order to make this work, we have to use the ChatGPT reverse proxy. Thankfully, the ChatGPT repository provides us some reverse proxy URLs that we can use with this class. Let's start by adding API reverse proxy URL. Let me show you where you can get the URL for the reverse proxy. The ChatGPT repository on NPM. If you scroll down and press ChatGPT unofficial proxy API, scroll down a little bit, you'll be able to see this table. This table contains two reverse proxy URLs. You can use any of these. Currently, this one is working for me. I will just copy that URL and I will paste it inside of my code. Once that's done, we will create a while loop. We created this loop so that we can communicate with ChatGPT in a back-to-back manner. There is a library called Cliffy that will allow us to get the prompt from the user inside of the terminal. Let's import the library. Now I will create a constant here. We will give a label to this prompt. Let's say user. Once we've got the prompt, we will pass that prompt to the API and send the message. Once we receive the response, we will console log the response. Once that's done, let's test our code. Now the program is waiting for us to give it a prompt. Let's try it out. Once I press enter, the request will be sent to the ChatGPT and the ChatGPT will give us a response. As you can see, we have received a response with the translated text. We've also received some extra information like conversation ID, current message ID, etc. We can use this information to continue the conversation. Let me close that conversation and pass the conversation ID so that we can create a single conversation. Now I will create two variables that will contain the conversation ID and the previous message ID. We will assign this information here. Once we have assigned that information, we will pass this information inside of the options in the send message method. Let us give it a try. Before we give it a try, I want to change the response to response.text so that we can see conversation kind of design. Let's give it a prompt. We have received the response. Let us pass another prompt to see if ChatGPT remembers our conversation content. I asked ChatGPT what did I translated just now, and it tells me you translated hello there to Spanish, which is hola. That's it for today's video. I hope you liked the video and you will subscribe the channel. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.